Daniel Morris, prepared to get my feet wet. Prepared to get my feet wet. Daniel Morris.
When was the last time you truly failed at something? I mean, really failed, where you were actively engaged in something that was important to you, that had meaning and consequence. Something where you failed to meet your own expectations or the expectations of others. I've failed a lot in my life, and I continue to fail. My speech today isn't about avoiding failure, but I want to challenge the judgments we hold around failure. When I was in school, about 20 years ago, as a teenager, we'd sit in the hall, and a few times a year we'd have special guests. And these guests were always the same, and their speeches followed the exact same pattern. They were talented, they excelled at what they did, and then they went on to achieve great things. Famous athletes, impressive academics, writers, artists, that kind of thing. And that's great, except it was completely unrelated to my experience in life. You see, things weren't really going well for me at that time. One time, just one time, they brought a speaker that was different. He came up on stage, and the first thing he did was tell us about his first ever attempt at kayaking and how he did 2 strokes of a paddle, tipped the thing upside down and ended up in the drink. And then he said about the second time he got in a kayak and was only able to make it 10 strokes before he lost his paddle. And he told over and over again about every failure he had made and how he was the worst kayaker in his school, in his club, in his division, but he kept on turning up. At the end of the speech, the vice principal asked him, if you had to give one piece of advice or explain one thing that you did different between all the people that you trained with and what got you up onto the podium representing the country at the highest levels, what did you do different? And without any hesitation at all, he said, the difference between me and others was that I was prepared to get my feet wet. As in, he didn't mind if he looked silly, he didn't mind if he lost, he didn't mind if he lost his paddle or if he got his feet wet. He was very much prepared to fail as long as he got better. Now, for me, I was really struggling in school, and I left pretty early. I left when I was about 16 or 17 years old. When people look at me now, what they know about me, my closest friends and my family, they know that I'm an engineer, a manager. I've held senior roles in some pretty good companies. What they don't know about me, what I don't share with people, is that I actually flunked out of high school. I couldn't finish it. I had undiagnosed dyslexia at the time, and because of my inability to pass exams, that led to high levels of anxiety, which put me in this negative spiral where I did bad, that made me panic, the panic made me do even worse, and the spiral kept on going. So it was okay because I managed to find a calling in life that was outside of the stress of academia. So I joined the army, and later on I became an electrician. When I came to my late 20s, early 20s, I arrived at a crossroads. I could either keep going with what was comfortable, what I was good at, or I could go down a different path, a more difficult path. I've thought back long and hard about that speech, about not relying on natural talent, but relying on hard work and diligence. And I decided, as much as I love being an electrician, and as stable as that work was, I wanted to become an engineer. I wanted to run projects. I wanted to run teams of people, and I felt like I could do it. So I enrolled in university. Now, a university degree to become an engineer is not easy. You need to be good at maths to begin with, which I'm not, and you really need to commit yourself to understanding complex textbooks and theory. A typical engineering degree will take you about 3 to 4 years. Mine took me almost 8. I worked full-time during the day, and I studied during the evenings, and over the course of almost a decade, I graduated. And I would love to tell you that there was a light bulb moment where everything, the jigsaw pieces just fell into place and everything came together and it was smooth sailing. It was not. That was not my experience at all. It was rough every single step of the way. I had professors that told me I should quit, and when I passed their course, I couldn't even rub it in their face because I only passed by 1%. Not quite enough margin for error. But now, at 40 years old, I'm 2 units away from completing my master's degree in business administration to the University of Western Australia, one of the most prestigious research universities in the country. And what I've learnt over this last 10 to 15 years is that talent is incredibly overrated. There are so many people that are so much smarter than me, so much more gifted, and had such a better head start, but they've dropped out or taken easier paths, and they've not pushed themselves to do the things that I've done and the things that my other peers have done. What I've come to realise, in fact, is that maybe this dyslexia, this challenging anxiety that can be sometimes crippling and confronting, maybe it actually is an advantage. Maybe it actually gives me the strength of character that I've needed to develop resilience to get to where I need to be. Or as the ancient Stoics put it probably a lot more eloquently than I have, the impediment to action advances the action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The things that are stopping you getting to where you want to be are actually maybe there helping to make you grow. I don't know what my next stage in life is. I don't know where I want to go or what I want to be. All I know is that I'm the type of person that's very much prepared to get my feet wet. Contest chair.